Thank you for tuning in to this new Billington Federal CyberByte sponsored by Cisco. We appreciate your support of our cybersecurity education mission of our company over the past decade. This interview will feature Zach Brown, the Chief Information Security Officer at the FDIC, and Nick Hoffman, Regional Manager of Federal Security Sales at Cisco. Today, the conversation will focus on the charting of the new normal at the FDIC, its migration to the cloud, and how industry can assist in cybersecurity. We hope you will enjoy this short interview, and thanks again for your support of our collective cybersecurity education mission.
There are certainly lessons to be learned. Really what it comes down to for me, and I often rely on and turn back to the basic principles. In most cases, the news stories are the tips on how to recover, how to contain an event, begin with basic hygiene. Those agencies, those organizations that provide for and plan for basic hygiene in terms of patching and updates, regular updates, typically fare better than those who do not. And so that's usually the general lesson learned. But I think some of these, although some of the large scale attacks that we've experienced lately, while you hear a lot about the increasing level of sophistication and just how sly the tactics, techniques, and procedures have become, really, again, if you turn back to those basic principles of deny by default, allow by exception, layered protections, layered defenses, principles of like least privilege, network segmentation, you're gonna give yourself and your organization a leg up. And so we've been at the FDIC, we've been fortunate, knock on wood, and say a quick prayer, to say that we've been fortunate in these events and over the past, with the large scale events and in general. And so we like to basically recenter on those principles and be sure that although there's significant news and coverage to different events, we hold true to our principles and hold true to our configuration management, patch management, and those sorts of things. So with Zero Trust, I'm typically, for those who know me a little bit better, I'm typically not one for the buzzwords or the hypes or the latest craze, but I think Zero Trust is one of those that it presents itself in the appropriate way, and if you approach it in the appropriate way, you realize and appreciate that Zero Trust is a strategy. And like other strategies, there's not going to be a single technology or tool that you're going to go out and buy to implement Zero Trust, but rather take a minute and see how that strategy applies and supports your business. We happen to be in the business of security and our business of security is securing the business of the FDIC. And so applying a Zero Trust strategy and focusing really begins with focusing on our internal resources, prior investments, making sure that I mentioned previously a note about the importance of hygiene and good configuration management, asset management. When you start applying the principles of Zero Trust and applying that strategy and working it into your organization, if you begin with the common best practices of starting from the inside out rather than the outside in type design and approach, you start zeroing in on your most critical assets, your data, which then implies and enforces principles around data management, asset management, identity management, and really urges you and emphasizes the importance of those principles and forces an agency or an organization that's seeking Zero Trust to really make the most of and best leverage those principles and those prior investments, such that then they can layer in if we get to the point that we have the reducing that protect surface and the microsegmentation and the technology that will be necessary to realize the full potential of that Zero Trust strategy. You'll have already established that stable foundation so that you can do the appropriate layer 7 tooling and rules and policies that you'll need to fully realize the benefits of Zero Trust. So that's, I feel like that question has been spinning here for about 10 years, and it's still a great question. Most every agency or organization has had some venture into the cloud by now. Some still considering it a journey to the cloud or migration to the cloud, however you characterize it. I can tell you from both lessons learned and my own experience and organizations that I've worked with, some of the challenges that we've had in chasing brands. If you're looking at which cloud offering is sells itself, markets itself in the best way, and has a lot of I'll say hype around it. That's generally not the best approach to your migration. It presents its own challenges in that you're forcing a use case into that particular employment model or offering. Generally, I've found the greatest success in starting with that workload. What is it that the agency does? What is it that the organization does from in supporting its business? Which applications or business process or services do we provide that are most suitable for a cloud deployment?
Yeah, so as we see consistently throughout all of the governmental conversations that I have, when Zach spoke about looking at things like modernization efforts as part of some of the benefits that you can receive from modernization efforts or cloud migration, when you simplify things, it actually decreases potentially the attack surface area, which is counterintuitive when you look at mobility and a distributed workforce. But I really, I want to echo what he said, that as we start to simplify different technology stacks, move towards more modern development styles, more modern application delivery, a lot of times some of those security controls can be inherited or even built into that infrastructure, where a lot of, previously the onus was on the agency themselves as they deliver that service. But now if we take that more architectural approach, leverage some of the cloud technologies that are out there, start to have the networks build on each other and provide some more of that automation, that as we increase our velocity of features and functionality and applications and mission outcomes, we don't have to forego security. And actually that in simplifying the delivery mechanism of these architectures and in moving from these antiquated systems to newer systems, we may be able to achieve significantly better security due to the fact that the stacks that they're built on are simpler and have a lower risk surface area for the attackers to go after. So I think Zach said it when he mentioned needing to leave on a Friday and then not come back to the office on Monday by never missing a beat. That illustrates that requirement. When you think about zero trust, it's, what's old is new again. This is not a new concept necessarily, although it may have some increased velocity and branding around it. But when we start to look at modernization efforts that Zach discussed, some of the cloud migration, and then this immediacy of suddenly a large percentage of the workforce is now having to work from home and will for the foreseeable future, and that some percentage may never come back. The ideas behind zero trust, again, while not new, we certainly see that there is a pointed need for them as we've increased the attack and risk surface area by putting new devices in our users' hands, by needing to adopt different applications for this distributed delivery model that we find ourselves in. And so suddenly we have to really make sure that we are protecting the important data with continuous monitoring, protecting the important data with least privileged access, and some of those basic principles that NIST and others have outlined around zero trust. And the pandemic just accelerated the need for all of that by making our workforce no longer coming to a single place that I can put you through a single stack or choke point, if you will. And you're now coming over significantly less trusted networks, media, and assets to access my trusted data.